Thank you for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Okay, my royalty, grab your tea, grab that petty petty tea. Yes, I'm gonna be on and off talking about dating nightmares in my life, the medical nightmare, because I'm gonna start talking more heavily on the medical nightmares. But I guess one reason why I talk about it and I include it in many episodes because of what the doctors have done to me. It interfered with almost every single aspect of my life, including my mental health and what I think about myself. And I'm still healing from that. And it's to a point where even when I try to talk to family members about the past and how it harmed me and what it did to me, like some it's really disappointing how some family members are like, well, we didn't know. Well, you know how this generation is. You know how the Southern parents are. You know how this and that. And it's just like, no, It's like, but then they say they're not finding excuses. They're not giving reasons. But then what are you doing? I'm telling you what happened to me. I'm telling you the harm that it caused. But then in return, you tell me this was because this happened because you know how they are. It's like how they didn't know, so they did. And it's just like, well, either way, doctors told my parents that I was making it up. I was a liar. I wanted attention and other things, but those were the most common. And then as I got older, go home and lose weight. Like, well, this was like adult. Like, this is when the pain was starting to be so like I don't know if I will ever be able to describe the pain. Maybe when I keep saying, well, I know I don't keep saying, but I do plan on going live where you actually see me. And I'm going to do the episode on why I don't do that right now. If you've been listening, then you already know because I have thrown in stories of why I don't. If you've been reading the screenshots from Dating Nightmares, you will already have a hint of why I don't. But it's like my when it comes to doctors, some doctors just want to get rich. Some doctors just became doctors so they can brag about it or so that they can feel inferior and above others. Some doctors think they're just so smart just because they're a doctor. It's it's like, but to be a doctor, you need to be a good listener. I had some of the worst doctors because they did not listen. They did not pay attention or they did not care. Or like I know some people are like, people always claim racism, be quiet, but you don't know how some of these doctors spoke to me and how quickly they were to dismiss me. They wouldn't even test me or do anything to analyze or figure out. And even to a point when I finally turned 18 and I could speak for myself, talking to this doctor, telling her, I'm not making it up. I'm not lying. I don't know what's wrong. It's like, I'm not doing this on purpose. Help me. And instead, she laughed. Instead, she called my mother and told her what I said, only for me to get punished. When I needed a doctor's note for work, she laughed at me. And there are some jobs I lost because I couldn't get the note. And there are some jobs like the Best Buy, when I worked a long-term promotion there for an ink program. Yeah, I squeezed my feet in these uncomfortable shoes that were terrible for my walking to a point where when I even I didn't even have to go to the restroom, but there were some times where I would run to the restroom so I could sit on the toilet so I can take pressure off my feet, off my legs, my feet. That's how bad the pain was. And then when I got in my car, switching shoes because I could feel the moisture from the blood that were in my socks. And so yeah, it's like at first I would just switch shoes, but then it was so uncomfortable, especially. And then when I get home, it's like, okay, having very clean carpets, I am not going to be accused of leaving this mess. So then I would have to change sock like each day, have a pair or two of extra socks or whatever. So yeah, I'm going to be talking more about the medical nightmare. And I mentioned that I'm trying to figure out how I can sue because now some lawyers are saying I took too long. And I'm like, how did I take too long when the doctors are telling me all like for over 30 years, it's your fault. You want to walk like this. There's nothing wrong with you. And then when I finally get diagnosed, I was emotional for years. I'm still like, you don't know the trauma that has caused me for over 30 years. And everyone looking at me saying I was a liar. You have no idea. And so some people might ask me, why do I have so much empathy for the people who are on Snap and on some of these programs and things like that? Especially like so many people accuse people on Snap of not working. And I'm gonna get so petty because Tattoo Zach. Oh yeah, I know a few Zachs, especially during COVID. I think I ended up meeting 5 different Zachs on like social medias and dating apps or whatever. I was like, how many Zachs are there? What in the world? But I've mentioned this debate before, but I was doing like, there was this Zach guy. I called him Tattoo Zach, but like I think that's what I named him in my phone. It was like, and I think I put a city in there too because there was another Tattoo Zach, and I'm like, oh man. But anyway, we got on the topic of politics because it's like once he found out that I would never date someone that voted for the orange man, and he was like, what, how stupid are you? And he's just like, he said that comment. I'm like, excuse me. And so we ended up having a political debate, and it's really crazy because a lot of the things that he was saying, like sometimes it would take me longer to respond because as he was talking, I'm on my cell phone on Bing looking up some of the claims he said, and each time there's like there the article would be like, this is false, this is false, that's not true, this came from Fox News, this came from Newsmax, this is not true, this is false, this came from the like Pearly, that one Pearly thing, whatever. It's like there's like each time it said which of the more conservative or Republican or women hating people he was talking about. And and it's like, if you've really been listening to my episodes, you are going to like, you would have read, I think he has like 2 or 3 different profiles. This one guy wrote me like 5 or 6 different times, and he like would call me the R word and idiot, and it's like, oh, you talk about politics, you're so stupid to talk about politics and things. He was listening to that one, I believe, because like so many times he's like, you're so dumb, you talk about politics. Why is talking about politics dumb? But it's like I hear that from a certain demographic. Actually, two different types of like demographics I hear that from. Especially, well, you know what, it's like it's so complicated, it's interesting complicated because now I'm thinking in its three, because this guy I'm talking about is white, and there's 2 different like Caucasian colonizer groups that think women talking politics is stupid and stuff, because you have like the extreme MAGA, but they're not the religious MAGA, but it's like they're poorly educated, they're naive, stupid, dumb, and a tad bit just stereotypical, right? Like, and especially some of them who are they live around African Americans, but they don't know African American history. They don't know the reality. They don't like, they're very just ignorant, stupid, dumb. Yeah. And then you have another group of colonizers who it's more out of power. And yeah, it's like, hmm. But then it's like there is a chunk that is African American, and that group is scary. It's like, especially on dating apps when they try to match with me, and I'm like, well, no, boy, it's like, you didn't read my profile. It's like, I'm gonna do a few episodes on that because it's so funny. The men that try to match with me, and in my profile, I say what I want and need, and they like looking at their profile, they clearly don't match up with any of it. And so I'm going to tell it because, yeah, let's just say over the last 2 years, maybe two and a half, since like there was like four or five different men who on different social medias, but mostly TikToks, they were saying how women need to be nicer to them. And so when a man doesn't match, especially on Hinge, it's like if they don't match, I'm like, oh yeah, we don't match. We're not compatible with dating. But if you want to chat, we can chat until you meet your match. It's like, I hope you meet her. Oh my gosh, I have so many good stories. And if if you've been listening and everything, you already know about Patreon. I already have so many of the screenshots from that on Patreon because it's really like men say they want us to be nicer and everything. No, they don't. No, they don't. Because then when you're nice and tell them, well, we're not compatible. Why am I not compatible? But yeah, it's like that's a different story for a different day, but it connects to this one because like with the power so many of these men want. That's one reason why so many of them voted for the orange man because they felt like they could obtain power. Black men because they're men, but then they forget about the history and how with black people we just started getting our independence with things. We still we still don't have equality when it comes to the housing market. We still don't have like equality when it comes to the job market. It's like, so I don't know. It's but and then on yeah, let's just say I thought of a fourth demographic, and that is of the African Americans that are not from, like they weren't born in America. They are from either the islands or Africa when they come over. Because sometimes when we talk politics, yeah, sorry, it's just ugh. But let's just say, like talking to each of the demographics, especially oh my gosh, especially like okay, the men from Africa. Oh, when I tell, oh my, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna be working on those episodes. I like because it's really interesting because now that I'm thinking, like I'm grouping them together, it's really like, and this is why I wish I majored in anthropology. I only got my minor in anthropology, cultural anthropology, and I think that's one reason why like now it's like just in my head I'm doing like not calculations but like well, anyways, back to the debate because men in all three or four of these separate demographics were listening in. I'm not gonna say it was like hundreds and hundreds because it was on the Meet Me, Scout, Plenty of Fish like streaming thing, so it wasn't like a lot of people, but it was several people. And I know several because some of the men try to write me after the debate, and some of them were like, women aren't supposed to talk about politics. You're supposed to be a real woman. You're beautiful. So if you just be quiet, you would be married by now. You would not believe how many men were either they were trying to match with me only to try to be like, see, you're so beautiful. Just stop talking about politics. Just stop. And it's like, you're beautiful and you look like you're classy and blah blah. It's like, why are you going to be on the Democrat side? It's like, if you have education, if you have money, it's like, why would you help the poor? Why would you why would you have empathy for the poor? Skip them, whatever. And it's like, if you look better than them, like, and it's like, it was the sickest thing. I was so disgusted. But one of the things I will never forget is when we started talking about the minimum wage. And I think I mentioned SNAP and benefits and things like that. And he was just like, who the blank cares about minimum wage anyway? And I've mentioned him before. It's like if you've been listening to the episodes, you already, because I remember being like, one, you don't care. You don't care because you grow and sell 420 in your house and you don't pay taxes. So, and that's all you do. You stay at home, your house. It's like, I remember the time he gave me, because virtually, he gave me a full tour of his house. Almost every single room is filled with 420. Almost every single one. And going through their different phases. He has one room that is like, it might be the seedlings, and then the next step and the next step, and then he has the dry room and stuff like that. And yeah, that's all he does. Or he does, well, he goes golfing too, because yeah, since he makes a good amount of money from it, he doesn't have to work another job. That is his job. And then he goes golfing and doesn't pay any taxes, and he brags about it. Yeah. But then he's going to sit telling me who cares about the minimum wage. Maybe the people who, because I remember when he was even saying, like when he was kind of asking me to go on a date with him, he said we can go out to eat and everything. And I think, oh, because he asked me out about 6 times. And there was one time I think one of the times was after the debate, and that's when I was just like, because even the day of, because he said that after he goes golfing, we can meet up or whatever. But I had such a I was just like, nah, no, 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 no. Especially when, I mean, he can't vote because he was in prison as well. And yeah, and he's not the reason, but yeah, it's like, if you guys have been listening, you already know about Thomas. That's why I added, you must not have, a criminal history. I mean, if it's just like some tickets, or if it's like a minor, like, I understand. It's like so many people, you make mistakes, whatever, whatever, whatever. Fine. But yeah, when you end up going to prison for like, I mean, because even like, that beautiful soul Greta. Oh my gosh, I love and adore her. She's been like, see, if it was like her type of arrest, if it was like her type of arrest history, I'd find that hot. I'd be so attracted. I'd be like, yeah, how you doing, baby? How you doing, boo? And it's like the next time he get arrested, I'm like, it's like, okay, you want me to pick you up some food, or you want me to make, like, what do you want me to make? It's like, I don't even like steak, but if he's a steak and potatoes man, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make, yeah. It's like, after I get you out, you're gonna have steak and potatoes, and it's like, but I'm probably gonna be like, but I'm choosing what we're gonna watch on Netflix. Yes, we are. But anyway, it's just during that debate, he was laughing and saying how if you're not smart enough to work a job or get a job that pays higher than minimum wage, then what are you doing? And I just remember when I was thinking about when I've already done the episode, I think that's episode 2 or 3, when I talked about working at the zoo. It might have been episode 1. Like, I don't know. I thought after, I'm like, yeah, maybe I should have labeled them so I know which is which. Because the part 5, yeah, I already passed part 5. I labeled cell phone. I was like, yeah, I need to make sure But yeah, episode 5 is a cell phone. But with the zoo, $8 an hour, minimum wage. I had my bachelor's and double minor, and I, like he said, if you're smart enough, by that time, because this is during the whole recession period, but I went to over 20, 30 job interviews, like marketing, advertising, even some of the best marketing firms, even like I know one of them was like, two of them was like in the Bloomfield Hills area. And yeah, it's like even driving to Flint. And I mean, yeah, I was going all over for jobs, could not find it. And with the pressure that I was getting from my mom, mm, go back and listen if you want to hear that. But it's like, so I don't know, like when he said, if you're not smart enough, it's like I busted my tush off. And with some jobs, you don't look like what your resume says. Which one of your parents are white? How did you end up talking like that? It's like, where are your parents really from? Where are you really from? Yeah, yeah. Also, your your parents, it's like did they go to college too? Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't know. It's just like some of the questions were just so, like, they were racist. But then if I accuse, like, they were like, oh well, no, I was just asking questions. I was just curious. But then also with my, on top of being black, having an undiagnosed disability. Yeah, and that's why I was saying earlier. It's like my disability interfered with so many parts of my life. But why do you walk like that? When are you going to get that fixed? Why don't you go to the hospital and talk to doctors before you start interviewing? You're really smart. You have one of the best resumes that we've collected or that we've been through. But it's like we don't know if you're going to last long because your walking is so unique or so odd. It's like, oh, does anyone else in your family walk like you? Is that, I was like, well, yeah. I'm not gonna keep going because like each time I say another one, it just reminds me. Yeah, so, but yeah, those are some examples. Those are some examples. So when this Zach Tattoos no good jerk has the nerve to say, like, if you're not smart enough, like, some people, like, you're trying to get a job to make it through. After I finished college, and I'm trying to get my life together. I'm trying to, like, I was so excited when I finally graduated. And I was like, now I can show my hard work and my talent and my education and everything like that. But no one wanted it. People saw me, and either because I'm black or I walk weird, they didn't want me. And then well, I think this was later on, but even the job interviews where men literally said I had to sleep with them in order to get the job, or they would pull down their pants or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I've been through a lot of odd job interviews. Yeah, so, but yeah, he was like, if you're if you're not smart enough to get a higher job, it's like if you're just gonna settle for minimum wage, sometimes you have to get what you can get so you can at least pay majority of your bills. It's like trying to not be in debt, trying to maybe even get health insurance, trying to get something. It's like many of the Republicans keep trying to say that people who get minimum wage or people who get SNAP are lazy. You don't know how many job interviews they went through. And this is why I have empathy, because I know how many I went through and I still had to work an $8 an hour job. I know because like even it's like I had to start working promotional modeling, not because I thought it was the best for me, but because it's marketing related. And maybe once I load my resume with this type of experience, they will finally stop looking at how I walk. Maybe they will stop looking at my skin color. Maybe they would see that I'm serious. It's like 'cause they keep saying I have the best resume, especially once I finished my first and then second master's and had my 3 certifications. Oh, yeah. But then, like, the virtual interviews were amazing. Even when I was with that clearly a mistake of a university, I taught there for a semester. The interview was amazing, but once he saw me with my walker, once he saw me with my disability, he wanted nothing to do with me. He ignored me and my so called mentor. They both ignored me. Yeah, those are real men right there. Real men right there. Because we're talking about the dean. The dean. The dean is a ableist, no good, stupid bigot, in my opinion, of course. In my opinion, because when you treat staff like he treated me, especially like, because I saw him the first day of school too, the first day, and after that he ignored me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, and during the interview, he said my resume was so impressive that he would probably want to keep me ongoing because of my experience and my hands on and my approach. And he was saying how creative I was. And it's like he was just saying, you would not have to worry. It's like, we're all with your subject matter. We would always offer. But once he saw me, he took all of that away. So when I see or when I hear idiots like Zach Tattoo have the nerve to judge people who work minimum wage, who have the nerve, and then MAGA people, Republicans, who have the nerve to say, if you're on SNAP or if you're on benefits, you're lazy, you have no idea what you're talking about. And then when men try to say that talking politics is a masculine thing, that women are not supposed to talk about politics. Politics are messing with my life as a woman, as someone with a disability, as someone who wants to work. Because now I'm at a point where I'm working hard on my novels and working hard on starting my own business so that I can make my own money and be purely. Because, yeah, it's like I'm an adjunct professor, but that's not full time. That's not full time. So now I have to spend my time, my energy in order to create a full time. I started this YouTube channel to see because, well, once I get back on the nerd channel, I'm going to talk about the things I know about starting the business. And yes, I don't have that many followers on here still, but it's like part of me. I hired someone to do the marketing, but then they scammed me. But then later on, I realized, you know what? If I just keep doing the episodes while I work on like the novels, then once I publish, Inside is going to talk about my YouTube channel. And then when I sell the candles and the greeting cards, it's going to mention and then with the website, I'm going to make sure everything targets to one another, especially the YouTube channel, especially my Patreon. So I have a game plan. I've created the game plan and I'm kind of like the tortoise right now, slowly but steady. But, you know, and all I have to say is if you're working minimum wage, baby, we need to fix this. We need to lift minimum wage because years ago, decades ago, you could work one job and go home and take care of your family and not stress out and not be dependent on the government. But then the billionaires want to have more billions. They care more about what's in their pocket than allowing their employees be able to survive. But I'll talk about that in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman. I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human and you're human too.